Great job, Crunchyroll. Dropping the ball again. I mean, you dropped the ball for the company and the magazine, but I guess the readers, are just like, whatever, we're gonna read it. It's still technically official release, so whatever. And you know what I'm talking about. Last week's chapter was supposed to come out this week, and then I think this chapter was either supposed to come out next week or the week after. Now it's supposed to be separated differently for the holiday schedule, but they keep fucking up. So anyway, right now, we got a chapter that I think did a decent amount of damage control for previous events. And I guess I can't even really call it damage control, because if it's something that the author set up to be like that specifically, then it's more of just like retroactive. What would it even be? It wasn't broken at that point. It wouldn't be fixing something in the past. I guess retroactively just unveiling true events from the past and revealing that they weren't actually, they weren't just big busted stupid parts. Instead, they were nice parts in disguise. I mean, it doesn't change my overall opinion of Merlin. I still don't really like Merlin as a character, considering she just kind of pulls out like spells out of nowhere. That's just like, it's not even like, oh yeah, this guy's using fire magic, let's use water or something. It'd be like, whoa, I have this one that specifically at this temperature of fire will completely render all heat at this specific temperature moot. And not only will it render it that, but it will heal you at the same time. I'm like, you're getting specific, and not only that, you have too many spells. You started out too OP. Like, Merlin should have been like, I mean, it would have obviously hurt Nakaba's overall plan, but I feel like she shouldn't have been one of the 7 deadly sins. I feel like she should have been some kind of like, that set character outside of the main cast that's just like, damn, you're really OP. And just, I don't know, somebody taking her place, being their own caster. Maybe like if you switched it, whatever the chick's name, her apprentice, maybe have that chick was a member, and it's like, oh, well, where did you learn all your magic? And then it's, it turns out she's been doing all her stuff from the shadows regardless. I don't know. It just always bothered me, the fact that she just always has a spell for every occasion. And I mean, anyway, regardless of which, now we have Merlin like finding out her past, and we knew small bits before, but now we're finding out, much more drawn out aspects of it. But we're finding more about this person in the lake as well. The lady in the lake who helped give Excalibur out at one point. And I have her, I don't know the extent of, like Arthurian lore and the lady in the lake. I know that she exists in the lore, like, further back, and I know, the lake has, ties to Excalibur as well. I don't know the full extent, but I like where Nakaba's tying this too. And I'm still curious to know whether or not he's going to, if he's going to have this continue in 7 Deadly Sins, or if it's like, oh no, 7 Deadly Sins over, and whatever the Arthur story is going to be called starts soon. Otherwise, it'd be like, what's the point of all this if you're not going to do one or the other? If it's just like, oh no, I'm going to end it and then just have it over. It's like, well, we didn't need to know all this. I mean, it's cool you had all this, in mind, but, give us a spin-off or don't. Regardless of which. Or it would be a continuation. I guess it would still be a spin-off. But, as it were, we're finding out Merlin, back in the city. How is that even pronounced? Belialian? But, they had, like, this, essentially, the little smart kid school. Oh yeah, look at all these kids, they're so good at magic. Cool, let's just bring them in and help, hone up their skills and whatnot. And they're still, like, trying to find out this ultimate magic. They just wanted to try and grasp this power that, was the pinnacle of what they would achieve in their society. And, obviously Merlin was born with infinity. She just has an infinite supply of magic, which I'm still curious of, like, how exactly, like, her full employment of that is. Because from what I've understood, it's like, oh, because her power, what's her magic, stat? It was like 4,000. It's like, oh, well, she can just use the 4,000 stat infinitely. So anything within that realm, she can just use it over and over and over and over and over again. It's not like she just can amplify and just be like, oh, I'll charge up this attack infinitely and blow up the planet. I mean, I'm sure she could actually do that with prep and like a long time set and lots of crazy spells, but like not in a direct fight. Just like, oh yeah, let me just, because obviously, like, if it was just that, then she would win every fight. I would be like, well, power levels are relevant. Plus, her power level, she wouldn't have a power level. Her power level would just be infinite. But as it were, she, she didn't want to be in this, this kind of like training institute. She just wanted to, get praise and love from her father. But her dad just wanted to, own this skill of hers, and she eventually ran away, and she was pursued and saved by Meliodas. This part, personally, for me, I was just like, because she grew a little crush on Meliodas and wanted to be with him. Made her adult body that we know her as, and wanted to pursue him, but he was with Elizabeth, and I'm just like, we don't need to have another character just being like, oh, Meliodas, you're so great. Turns out I've loved you all the time. It's like, no, we don't need that. It could have been something else, but whatever. It was short-lived. It's not a defining aspect of her character. It's just something that happened at one point. So I can appreciate at least that Nakaba didn't try and run along with that, because I think that whole story aspect would have been really, really not fun to see, where it's like, oh, she actually loved Meliodas all along, and she's after Elizabeth. I'd be like, please no. Luckily, it doesn't look like we're getting that. But now, it's revealing like that she's been after Chaos, which the Chaos power was, what allegedly made the Seven Deadly Sins world, made the races, like it made the Supreme Goddess, the Demon King, the Sacred Tree, and then each of those were made their respective races, with the Goddess Clan, the Demon Clan, and the Fairy Clan, the Fairy folk. And then after that, it made the Giants, and the Giants, they're all kind of just like big, muscular, meathead people. And then later, made the humans, which I'm wondering what about stuff like we've seen like vampires, Seven Deadly Sins, and I'm wondering if they're born of their own race, or if they were created through something that humans did to themselves, some form of blood magic. I don't know, but as it is, like humans, like they're the closest to chaos they can get, because humans are they are chaotic creatures. So, that aspect I thought was really cool, and, obviously ties into Merlin's goals and stuff about her. So humans being the ones to reach for chaos is in itself, like, again, a pretty interesting plot line that I'm wondering where Nakaba plans to take this. And during all this, like, because of the Demon King and Supreme Goddess, like, grew jealous, they ended up, like, pretty much messing with their the creators, like sealing up Chaos, and Merlin went about trying to undo that. And in the process of that, she needed to defeat the Demon King, and she went about all of her steps in order for her to do this. And all these characters are like, oh, you should never do this, blah blah blah. But she's the one that had them create the big coffin of eternal darkness, and it's revealed that she actually waited and delayed the time stop spell because she wanted the Demon King to come about, which again, I like that, because that was one of the things that's like, oh, conveniently she gets it off right when it's too late, but it's like, oh no, she did that on purpose. That means she was waiting. She probably lied about the cast time. She just wanted to make it seem like, it's like, oh, well, I have this thing that I can do, and now if you guys just stall for me and stop worrying about what we could do for it and just worry about them, then we'll be okay. And then it's like, oh no, it wasn't. And she's the one that reactivated like the curse on Elizabeth after it was broken, and she aimed at the lake in order to get it to its current status and where it's at now. And they're not too happy about that. Obviously Meliodas is pretty scrappy. The fact that she tried to essentially have Elizabeth killed at one point by reactivating her curse, but she knows that it's not really gonna anything that she has is going to satisfy them. She wanted her own goal. She was trying to work for her own thing. She wants her hunger for all this knowledge and all this power to, be satiated, and thinks that getting that chaotic power will do that. Again, I'm so curious whether or not Nakaba is planning on making this another arc or taking this into a spin-off, because it could. I think it would personally, I think it would work better, at least just off of what I would guess. I don't know Nakaba's plans. If it was another arc where they end up fighting them, because as of right now, it'd be like, maybe would the Seven Deadly Sins be the bad guys if Arthur was the main character? Because otherwise it's like, well, Arthur, main character, Merlin is on his side. Actually, I think that'd be really cool to have Merlin as, because she'd be a boss character at one point, and then, she's got all these hack spells. She would work so much better as, like, a big endgame boss rather than just, oh yeah, I'm on the good guy side, I'm really broken OP, I have pretty much everything. I imagine it'd be like if Zareth joined the Fairy Tale Guild, and I'd be like, well, it's cool. I mean, I'm sure you can do some cool character stuff with that, but the dude is so OP that I don't really see how they're gonna run into much for danger at this point. Something like, Arthur being like this big king of chaos sitting on some big world-ending throne, and he ends up creating more of these giant monsters, and instead of like, oh, demons, it's like giant nightmare-fueled legions of this monstrosities. And, maybe having some like more normal boss type like characters he creates, gives personalities to, or maybe like buffs up members of the Holy Knights. I don't know. You could do a lot of fun stuff like that. I like that idea more than Arthur as the main character, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna achieve chaos on her, and then you get like what, like, because they said the power came from the stars. You can have Gurren Lagann. Is the anti-spiral gonna show up and try and fight him? I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued to see what he's got planned. And like I said, I'm gonna ride this out. I'm riding Seven Deadly Sins, and whatever Nakaba's ties to this is gonna fully go to. And if he ends up ending Seven Deadly Sins and starting, an Arthur spinoff, I'm perfectly okay with that. I will keep going. Even with Seven Deadly Sins' problems, and I'm not talking about that horrible anime episode that I think everybody's seen that legitimately I thought was a fan of animation, but regardless of some of the parts in the story that I didn't really like, I still like the series overall, and I like Nakaba's work overall enough that I will, I'll keep following the guy. Regardless of which, comment below, tell me your thoughts are about this chapter, and where you think he's going to take the story from here. And other than that, I really appreciate it. Like I said, if you comment below, thumbs up the video, press the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.